So you're probably looking for some initial D games to play, but they are so obscure that you don't know which one or where to look. Well, I've been on a look at myself and I want to show you my 10 favorite initial D games that I have found. Now keep in mind, only one game in this list has initial D in the title. Well, two, but one doesn't count. I want to make clear that these are initial D games in the sense that they tickle you in the same way the show does. Drift 86 is a drift game that only costs about €2 or only 99 cents on sale. And the game also feels like a really cheap game. The visuals are something, but the cars look pretty nice. The game has single player and multiplayer, but the multiplayer is pretty dead. The single player consists of selecting a car and a track and then racing or drifting, no real options for event type or anything. There is a decent selection of tracks though, including a few togeys. When you get in game you will realize the physics are just drift. I know it's supposed to be arcade and all, but it's just very wonky. But to be honest, it's not a bad game and it might be worth the 99 cents when it's on sale. CarX Drift Racing Online is again a drift game, but this one feels more polished and is also available on PlayStation and Xbox. Cars and graphics look better and even the handling is superior. The car selection is not only bigger, but you can also customize them and even install mods to make them look like entirely different cars. There are events you can choose and a multiplayer that is still alive thanks to crossplay support. This game is really fun to hop in with a few friends and do some tandem drifts, and if you're really into that stuff, this game will be perfect for you. Okay, now we're done with the drift games. Fast Speed Loop Racer GT is a very pure arcade racer. From start to end it feels like an arcade port, and that's because it is. So much so that the game will run too fast on anything higher than a 60Hz monitor and can't run in higher settings than the original arcade version. It does have a story mode and multiplayer, the latter is dead again, but there is some fun to be had in the story mode. The story itself is terrible thanks to some bad translation and it mostly feels written by a child.
Leo is thrilled with getting his own car, and with his pal Chan at his side, he is honed his own racing skills.
The physics and gameplay is pretty good though. It feels a bit reminiscent of the Wang and Midnight Maximum Tune games, but probably because there are only city and highway maps. There is only forced car customization that gets applied every few levels, and the car themselves look like really bad versions of the real car powers. Ew. Ugh. Disgusting. Drift of the Hill takes us back to the togeys. This game is nearly the same as Drift 86, except the physics feel way more realistic. And when I say more realistic, I don't mean actually realistic. It's not bad, but it feels like Drift 86 too, then again it has less features. Still, mastering these physics is pretty fun, and it's not a bad game for €2. Back to the arcades, we have Battle Gear. This is already starting to feel more Initial D-like. You have 2 token maps and a bunch of JDM cars. The physics feels way more realistic than Fast Speed Loop Racer, but not perfect yet. I would say it feels more similar to like Gran Turismo. Only the second game in the series was ever released on home consoles, and that isn't the best game in the series. The footage you're seeing right now is from the third game's Japanese PS2 port. The first time I played this was at an arcade and I got hooked really quickly. If you have one of these machines at your local arcade, try it out, you really won't regret it. So Grid is a special one, since this is a real AAA racing game, and I'm sure everybody has heard of this game before, but not in an Initial D way. In case it wasn't clear, I'm talking about the original game for PC, 360 and PS3. This game is absolutely fantastic. Not only are the physics a beauty, but all AI opponents can make actual mistakes like spinning out and hitting walls. Crashes in this game are also really vicious. What makes this game so beautiful is how it all plays out. You start off racing for other teams in whatever car and track they want, but afterwards you can start your own team, you can choose your colors and a pattern, and those get automatically applied to every car you buy. As you race, you get more sponsored offers, and those will be automatically applied to the car as well. This makes all cars you own and will buy in the future have a near identical livery. This is great for uncreative people. The events also are great. It has doge events, drifting, drift racing, and even more. The game has aged incredibly well, and if you have the possibility to play it, definitely do.
Let's go! Get on! We go! Let's go! Come on! Get on! You know! Let's go! Come on! We go! Move on! Let's go! Don't be so shy. In fact, what you like for a night. I'm gonna please you. Open your
Assetto Corsa is a game you might be surprised to see at number 4. The game is a true driving simulator, best experienced with a decent racing wheel. It has a giant modding community where you can find all the cars and tracks you would ever desire. In theory, it's the perfect Initial D game, but there are some things about it why I can't put it higher in the list. First off, the base game is poop. If you have nobody to show you the basics of modding or how the game works, the game will be a terrible experience for you. There is nothing in Initial D to be found without DLC or mods. Not a bad thing, but something to keep in mind. This game is also terrible with a controller. It is possible to play, but don't expect to be any good at it. And once you start modding and adding maps, you will notice the AI is broken most of the time, making offline play purely time trials and drift practice. The game does come alive when you jump into multiplayer. It's kinda like Car X in a way, but just way more realistic. So Initial D Arcade Stage is the best official Initial D game by a long shot. The art style is great, the music is great, the cars are great, and even the tracks are great. There is only one thing holding the game back: the fact that Sega refuses to release any of these games on PC or console anymore. IDOS 2, 3 and 4 all got some sort of home port, but afterwards it went silent. But the gameplay is really solid. It's a pure arcade racing game, but with specific techniques you can do to take hairpins at ridiculous speeds. It feels like a fighting game in a way. It is playable on PC through certain emulators, but it's a real hassle to set up, and it might just stop working after a while. If you have an arcade near you that has an IDs cabinet, pause the video right now and go play that. Initial Drift Online is a special game. It kinda looks like a terrible acid flip at first glance, but oh boy once you get into it. This game is an online only MMO, where you do tofu deliveries and battle other racers. The physics are simcade and much better than you would expect. Since this game is still in early access, there is not that much to do or see. You have 3 tracks to race on and a handful of cars to pick from. It doesn't sound like much, but this game has huge potential. The developers are updating the game weekly and are active in the community. And not only that, but the game only costs €5 on Steam, making this the most cheap, accessible and fun game on this list. Now, if I was praising the last game on the list that much, you're probably wondering what could surpass that. It might surprise you to know I'm talking about a budget PS2 title. And it's so obscure, nearly every region had a different name for it. I'm talking about Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift 2, or Kaido Racer 2, or Kaido Legend of the Mountain Pass. I also heard Kaido Battle Tree was a name that they use as well. When I first heard about this game, I was very skeptical. The game is exclusive to PS2 and copies of the game weren't exactly cheap. I got it running on an emulator and after about 50 minutes of playing I went on eBay and bought me a copy. It's really that good. The game is absolute Initial D heaven. It has the best JDM car list I have ever seen. Nearly every single car ever made in Japan is in this game. It has 20 different toge tracks. It has full performance and body upgrades, with every upgrade feeling like it should feel in real life. Not only that, but the story mode involves you looking around at different parking lots, at different toge's, challenging the people you find there. That brings out the top team for the track and you have to race them. And the game physics feel nearly identical to Gran Turismo. I used to call this game Gran Togerismo. If this doesn't sound like the ultimate Initial D game, then I don't know what is. To be honest, the game is so good and has so much content that it deserves a video for itself. Thank you for watching. I hope you found some new games to play. If you want to see more on Initial Drift Online, check out my channel. And if you want to see some Gran Togerismo videos, post in the comments, I really want to do it. Anyway, good night and have fun.